Hi, everybody. Welcome to this little session on our on a product which is called VirtualCallboard. And this is by a lovely American company, Empty Space Technology. And Sam Anderson is our speaker this afternoon to tell us about this product. In chatting with Sam, I came across this product at another Zoom online demonstration, and I just thought it would be great to get Sam into the mix, and he could tell us about the product, show it to us. For those of you who aren't aware, most theatres have a call board, and that is where you post all of your schedules and your calls for the day. As part of COVID, getting people gathering in one small tight space, reading that call board is not necessarily the best thing. So here's another product that will make it possibly a lot easier to use. I'm going to hand over to Sam, and I will catch up with any questions that you might have, pop them in the Q&A session, and we'll bat them to Sam at the end. And yeah, enjoy. Welcome, Sam.
Awesome. Thank you, Catherine, and thank you all for attending. And so great to be with you. I was just sharing with Catherine earlier, it's beautiful here in the Western US here, and it's a beautiful summer. We're enjoying warm weather, and was swimming in the pool earlier today. So I heard you're having a bit of a cold down there. It's always great to just understand the virtual and worldwide nature of what we do. And I'm really glad to be able to join you over Zoom. Very sorry, of course, to hear of the last minute changes to the conference, but certainly want to commend the organizers and everyone who've really done a great job, I think, communicating and just being very resilient, just like we've all had to be for the last year and a half or so under these times. So I just appreciate the opportunity. Catherine, thank you for having us. I say us, it's me today. Typically, I'm with my partner, Jason McDaniel, who also represents the company. He couldn't be here today. He's off traveling for his summer vacation, but I'm happy to represent us and showcase a little bit of what we've done over the past little while. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And I just share a few slides to begin with, just to give you a brief introduction, but we'll spend the majority of the time actually in the product itself. And so I'm really excited to make this as interactive as possible. So if please, post those questions in the Q&A tab. And I'll get to them either during the presentation. We can talk about them right as we're moving along, or I'm happy to clean up at the end as well. Just if you want to save your questions till the end, either way, it's fine with me. But use that Q&A tab, and we should be able to make this a good dialogue, I think. So briefly, introduction to myself. I created this company because I went to school in theater. I was fully intending to have a professional career in theater. I also grew up around technology, and I learned to program at a pretty young age. Never really figured out how to sort of marry the two artistic drivers with the sort of technical drivers that I had in my personality until I decided what I really need to do was focus on software and how do we enable theater organizations and entertainment companies with better tools. And I became a professional stage manager for several years. I worked in mostly regional theater, doing musicals, and with very large casts, fairly large stage management teams, usually about 4 to 5 on a stage management crew. And just the sheer paperwork alone of scheduling 60 plus person cast between a 4-person stage management crew, very large creative team, putting together these very large scale musicals, almost pageant size type productions, was really a challenge. And this was sort of at the dawn of the cloud, if you will. The internet was around, but we really didn't do a lot in terms of web-based applications. And I decided, hey, this is an opportunity, I think, to use the internet for something different. It's very much predated cell phones as well, but we started posting our rehearsal schedules online on the website where our crew and stage management and actors could access online. And suddenly that became much more popular to view than calling in and listening to our very long rehearsal hotline that we would also record and put on the recording for. So that's sort of the impetus for Virtual Callboard, and my impetus in creating the company. I met Jason a few years later as I was showcasing the product, and he actually had some amazing ideas coming more from the production management angle, where he worked in professional theater as well as in educational context as a production manager and technical director. So he brought a lot of additional insight, a lot of additional use cases and things that we folded into the product over the course of many years. So I wish Jason were here that you all can meet him today. Like I said, he's not able to come, but he really, in many ways, is the heart and soul of the company. He's the one who, if you call us on the phone, generally speaking, you probably talk to Jason. And he's really a great business partner. We do well together. So I want to introduce you to one of our products today, Virtual Callboard. We actually do have a second product. You can learn more about online. I won't be featuring it or talking about it much today, but it's called StageStock. StageStock is our online inventory system, also is a web application as well as a mobile application. So if any of y'all are interested in online inventory or cloud-based inventory, you could check out www.stagestock.com for more information about that. Today, I'll be focused on our application, Virtual Callboard, which, as Catherine pointed out, is taking the physical callboard that we've all known and loved over many years and digitizing it. Another way I'd like to talk about is taking that stage manager's show Bible, right? Everything that's in there, all the schedules, all the reports, all the announcements and information, and sort of opening that book to everybody to view sort of at their leisure, in their time frame, and with the right permissions to see what they should see and to not see what they shouldn't see. And we'll get into that during the demo, and hopefully that will become obvious for you there. A little bit of background of the company, or the product. We originally launched Virtual Callboard in 2006. It is a subscription service because it's cloud-based and cloud-hosted. You can pay for the service annually or monthly. Many of our educational institutions or year-round theater companies, they'll usually do like an annual contract, whereas many shorter term projects are just happy to do a month-to-month subscription. You purchase the product based on the number of active productions you keep in the system concurrently. So you can archive those productions and keep them forever for free. But if you have an active production in the system, that increases the cost of your system, and you can have multiple active productions at one time. We have some organizations that have upwards of 20, 25 active productions going on at one time, whether they're in pre-production, in production, or post-production. We launched our mobile apps in 2019. It took us a while to get our mobile apps ready to go, but we're proud of them and we're glad we have them today. The product's used by over 1,100 organizations. Some neighbors over across the ocean a ways in Australia have signed up. We do have several international customers who use us quite consistently. I'm not sure we've had a New Zealand customer. So I'm here today to open the doors and say, we are ready for New Zealand. And it'd be wonderful to have you all and to get some feedback from you on how we do as a product. Over the course of the years, of course, we've aggregated a lot of statistics, just a couple minor ones here. We've had over 400,000 unique users in the system and over 14 million page views. You can think of that as views of the schedule, views of the calendar, views of different parts of the software over the years. So we've also built in quite a number of features. I won't be able to demo all the features today. I'll try and dabble in here and there and in all the features, so you at least get a taste for how the product works and what the sort of high-level overview is for all the features. But we have 16 years of development working on this product with a lot of feedback from customers, and so we've added a lot of depth to the product. And you'll notice as we go through it, you can kind of just click on things and go one level deeper, or travel one click further into the product that I won't be able to show you during the demo. But we do cover things like scheduling. As part of scheduling, we do attendance and conflict management, managing of double scheduling, managing of locations. So scheduling would be the most robust thing I show you. It's the most extensive part of the system. And honestly, it's the primary thing most people look to our product to accomplish for them, is its extensive scheduling capabilities. That includes things like open calls where you can have crews sign up. We'll demo that today. I'll show you our announcements features and communications features where we're able to push notifications out, whether that be by the app or by text message, or also just by plain old email. We handle reports as well, where you can set up your own report templates and file those reports over and over again, sending that report out to the same report recipients every time. And we include file sharing capabilities and discussion boards. So ways you can sort of bring everything together or bring everything into VirtualCallboard, so you're not shipping people off all the time to various different products where you might be storing your files, or you might be, storing contact information or something. We bring that all together. The site generally, so you get your own unique URL when you sign up for a VirtualCallboard, and that's usually established by the organization. So we do have a lot of freelancers who sort of come and go, so they'll just make a site for just a production or for just them in their personal name, like Sam's Callboard or something. And inside that same site, you can manage multiple productions simultaneously or concurrently. Everyone in the organization gets a unique login, so we have no limits on how many users you can have in the system at one time. We have no limits on how many scheduled items you create. We have no limits on the number of files or the capacity. Everything is unlimited except the number of productions you do concurrently. So when you add the second active production or the third active production, that's when your price goes up. If you just keep one production in the system at a time, if you're a freelancer or just a small community organization, it's really easy. You put the production in, you do the production, you archive it, and you put the new one in. Just move forward that way. One other thing I'll try and demo a little bit, but you may not really get the full appreciation of in this really short time, is we've built in a really extensive permission system, such that if one user logs in and you want them to have a role as a cast member, you can very granularly control, well, what do cast members get to do and see inside the website? So can they create a call? Can they create a conflict? Can they delete things? Can they comment on things? All those various capabilities in the application are all controlled by these roles and these permissions management. I'll probably show a little bit of it or demo a few use cases of this, but we won't get super deep, but just know that that's very, very flexible. And then let me talk a little bit about the offering, because these questions always come up during the Q&A. So I'm preempting a few questions here that I'm sure will come up. I mentioned already the offering. You can subscribe monthly or annually, and you can come and go as you please. So we have a lot of folks who maybe they don't do theater during the summer, so they shut down and they just sort of unsubscribe and then resubscribe in the fall. We keep your information for at least a year. So even if you have to have an off year, or in some cases an off year and a half or a year and 3/4 due to COVID, we've carried those customers right along, no problem. We're just super glad to keep them and have them coming back when they get back to doing theater. I think I mentioned all these bullet points here, so I'm not going to belabor them too much, other than I would say we provide discounts for everyone. And our goal really, honestly, this is a labor of love for us. We don't make an exceeding amount of money off of it. And so for us, it's really just creating and nurturing this software and this capability for the community, for people that, we are, by us, for us kind of a thing. And so we offer it, a very competitive price, and, offer discounts for really everyone that subscribes. And we just want to make it work for your organization. We believe in the sort of digitization of theater that much, where we really need to move in this direction, and we just want to make that possible. Okay, so that's enough sort of looking at PowerPoint, and as they say, death by PowerPoint. Let's go ahead and toggle over to the product and really see what we're talking about here. Kind of get rid of this video here so it's out of my way, and come back over here. Okay, so when you log into a VirtualCallboard, this is what you'd see as the home page of the product. This is the dashboard, and I'm currently logged into our demo site, and so you can see demo.vcallboard.com. This is a demo that's open to anyone. If y'all would like to log in now, you're welcome to log into the demo to follow along, or just to kick the tires as we go. Right now I'm logged in as a crew member, or caster crew member. Our demo actually has 4 different levels that you can log in as, 4 different of those user roles that I mentioned. These are the 4 that sort of come out of the box. So I'll log in as an administrator, so you can see a little bit more capabilities as I walk through the product. So now I'm Pat the producer. And let me just walk you across these few tabs here. So there's 3 communications features right here across the top: announcements, notes and email, and discussions. And let me step through those just for a moment. So on the announcements, you'll notice this is the equivalent of taking that paper, that piece of paper, right, that you would typically, pin up to the call board and say, cast party tonight or whatever. That's the equivalent of this in the software. So this is an announcement you could put in here. As you can see, the editor in here allows you to put in any type of content you want, whether that's video or bullet points or tables, even tables of data. We have a very flexible editor where you can create sort of any type of content that you would like. And you can share it with all productions, or you can select a specific production to share it with. So you can see we have 5 different productions in the system right now. So we have 5 productions going on in our organization. So we'll just send something to Legally Blonde the musical, and we'll just say, yeah, I like the idea of a cast party. We need a little get together after all this being apart. So let's all get together for a COVID-friendly cast party. Nobody bring the COVID, please. I guess we should say when it's going to be. Let's say tomorrow at 7 p.m. at the pub. Everyone knows which pub it is. And you notice here I have an expiration date on this, so I'm going to go ahead and expire because it's tomorrow night. I guess you all are already experiencing June 30th. For me, that's tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and select July 1st, and we'll just expire that at midnight. All right, so let me yeah, beautiful. Okay. So I am going to flip over to the app now, because you'll see what came through for me on my app. Let's see if I can do this, or it's just gonna be complicated to flip between the two. So now I'm gonna share with you on the screen my phone. This is my actual phone running the actual app. So let's see if it'll come up here. It's spinning like it wants to. There it comes. All right. So I'm already in the VirtualCallboard app. You'll see that I got a pop-up on the screen that says there's a new announcement posted. Pat the producer created a new announcement, cast party for Legally Blonde the musical. I'm gonna go ahead and tap that to open it. And I can see the announcement that was just posted, who it was posted by, when it expires, etc. So I can see all the announcements here. I can see all the active announcements. I can see the expired announcements as well. Looks like I have an expired cast party I missed. Well, that's too bad. Oh, it was BYOB as well. That's good. So as you can see, there's sort of parity in the application between what you see online and what you get in the application. In the application right now, I'm logged in as the cast or crew member. So I'm going to have a lot of different capabilities here. For example, if I go over to schedule, I can only add a conflict in the schedule, whereas you'll notice when I do this in the website, I'll have a lot more capabilities in the website. All right, well, I'm gonna just leave the app for now. We'll come back, I think, when we talk about the schedule a bit. Let me flip back open to Chrome. All right, so we've talked about announcements. Notes and email are very similar to the announcements, except these are to a particular person or groups of people. So let me introduce to you a very powerful feature we have all over the website with our users and groups picker. So here I can select any individual user in the system. I can pick all users to send this message to, for example. I can also use a group of users. And so I can create these groups, either their departments, groups, or roles. And those become very handy because they're just a placeholder for users. So if I'm going in and creating a production, let's say for 39 steps, let's see if Jason's already put this in here. I can click under the roles and I can see all the different roles in the production. So if I just want to send it to, say, the person and their understudy who would be part of that role, I can use these roles to send out this message in this case. You'll see this feature all over VirtualCallboard. So when you go to the schedule, you'll see users and groups pop up again. When you go to reports, it's users and groups. It's just a really handy way to think about users, where we can think about individual people, or we can think about the lighting department, the sound department, or the Beast and Belle, or whatever production you're doing. So notes and email, this feature is a corollary to sort of in the physical world of typing out a note. putting it in an envelope and hanging it on the mirror of the actor, right? So it's a private note. It goes just to the people that you specified. They may not even know who the note all went to besides them. So it's more of a private communication versus the announcement, which is that more public communication as well. This shows up very much as a very similar to the announcement. So I won't flip over to the app to show it to you. We'll save a little time there, and you get the same, capable text formatting here, where if you want to just type in bullets, or if you'd like to type in numbered lists, that's all available as well. You can use, we use the highlighting quite a bit. So if you have something that is something important you'd like to highlight, it's really simple to come in here and just highlight it in yellow. So then people actually pay attention to it, maybe increase the likelihood there. That comes through. You'll notice that there's no selection down here of like, how do you want to send the message? It'll go through according to the user's preference. So if the user prefers to get notifications on their app, they'll get that. If they prefer to get text messages on their phone through SMS, they'll get those. If they prefer just to receive email, they'll get it that way. Or they can select actually all three at once if they want to just really make sure they don't miss these notes or these messages as they come through. So a lot of capability there in our notes and messages feature. As the producer level or the administrator level, the most capable user in the production, I can see my sent items that I've sent over time. I can see notes that have been sent to me as well. And I can filter by all productions, or I can pick individual productions that I might want to just see one by one as well. I'm just going to pop up in the Q&A tab just to see if there's anything here. It looks like we're doing okay so far. And please just pipe any questions you have along the way into the Q&A. I'll try and get to those. Discussions takes us one step further. So with discussions, what we've done is enabled replies and threaded replies and replies to replies. This actually is really helpful. You can use it in many, many ways, but this is really helpful for things like designer discussions, or think about your collaborative or your creative team of your production and the collaboration that you need to have, particularly in times when you're not together for for various reasons. You need a platform where you can have these types of creative threaded discussions that might be happening asynchronously or over time. And this is a perfect use case for a discussion board. So here you can create a reply to the main thread. You can reply to a reply. It can just go down and down and down as much as you'd like. So here they're discussing a particular table they might use in the production, or table or chairs. And you can add, of course, photos, videos, all these pieces of media are being stored in the file sharing, by the way, so you can always access them there as well. I'll show that to you a little bit later. But you can see this discussion thread just keeps going and going. So it's a great example of that. And you can chime in really easily by just hitting the reply button and say, I agree. And you just post that reply. And again, when I post those replies, I get notified right away here on the mobile app, and by email or by text messages, whatever the preference is. So those are the three communications features of the site that are just focused on taking that physical, that analog communication, moving it digital, and putting it in the palm of your hand with the app. Good question here on timesheet recording. Can this be used for timesheet recording? So yeah, let me show you that when I get to the schedule part of the presentation. I'll show you the attendance feature, which does give you some capabilities for timesheets as well. So great question. In fact, we'll just head into that right away, unless there's any other questions on communications, announcements, notes and email discussions, those kind of things. I'll pop right into the schedule. So first of all, I need to apologize that I'm presenting on a fairly small laptop screen. These schedule views look a little bit better on larger monitors or larger screens than the laptop I'm looking at in front of me. So hopefully it doesn't look too constrained on your side. Of course, you can pull that up on your own computer and kind of make your own judgment there if you'd like to log into the demo. But what you'll see here is a monthly view of the calendar. So you can see I can scroll through and I can see everything sort of on that very popular grid month view. And I'm looking at just 39 steps. So I'd like to just pull up all productions for now, so I can see what's going on everywhere in my organization. I see a lot more things happening, which is great on a monthly level. That's so good to get a bird's eye view, but not very useful for day-to-day operations. So I prefer either the week view or the week list view, where I can just see sort of what's happening this week across things. Or if you're would like more of the agenda view, you can see it across time, right? So we have some calls very early in the morning, then we sort of skip the morning time, and then we have some other calls filtering throughout the day. Some are sort of overlapping here. And then we have our night calls as well. So you can see that layered view, that agenda view where you're seeing every hour of the day, or you can see like a very nice stacked view. This of course is the weekly view. We have many daily views as well. We've added these fairly recently in the product, and they're getting a lot of good traction. So we have just the typical daily grid. So if you're just looking for an agenda of your calls or everyone's calls, you can see it that way. But we really like this daily by space and daily by user. So I can actually put my spaces across the top of the calendar and see what's in what space throughout the day. So I see already I've got a problem. I've got a rehearsal going on at the same time as I have a music dance rehearsal in the same space. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this open and just make a quick edit and move this to a different space. So as you can see, I'm pulling up the production Legally Blonde. It's a music dance rehearsal. It's a call type of rehearsal music. And this is helpful because that's where we're getting the color coding from. So when I flip this open, you can see how all these are color coded. And you can control that yourself, by the way. So if you have colors that you like, those are totally configurable. And we have it in another space. I'm gonna go ahead and move that into, I guess, the red room. I didn't realize we didn't have so many spaces here. I get an immediate checkbox here, some feedback that yes, that room is available. That's fantastic. I could pick that room as well, but we'll go ahead and put it in the ACT2PV. And then I'll just confirm everything else that we have in that call. No other changes besides the space. So I'll just click through this as well. We'll create a call in a minute and I'll show you more of these other features. It did ask me here, do I want to send the notification? We always recommend you actually just leave this checked. We recently implemented some very intelligent call notifications that figure out exactly what information needs to be sent to the user and to who. And so we recommend keeping those notifications enabled. And so we are moving a call that's happening today to a new space. What we'll do is actually, we know that in the system now, and we will notify everyone, call has been moved from space X to space Y, and people will get that notification right on their phones. It does, ask me if I want to continue because it's notifying me there's a couple people busy at that time. So it's also managing my double scheduling. And I'm going to go ahead with that change even and decide not to fix those double scheduling for now. We'll just have those people bounce between these two different things. So you see how we just did that. Now it's popped over to the other location column here. So just one example of how we're doing these space management. We also have daily by user. So this is one where I can see, very similar to the space, I can see across users who is available and not. And so I'm noticing here, let's see if we're scheduling for that user that it brought up or it highlighted for us. So there's one. It doesn't look like I found it quite yet. Okay, well, I have to go back and actually see who the user was. It was notifying me of. I'm not actually seeing it on the calendar right here as we look. But that just shows you sort of a side-by-side view of everybody. You can, of course, filter this down. This really becomes useful when you're trying to find that open slot that these 5 people could potentially do something together in, right? Where you'd come in here and say, okay, I need to see Julia, Jody, Charlie, and Kim, and we're going to see, where we can fit in a 30-minute production meeting, during the day tomorrow. Not a great example. All of them are available all day, so no problem there. Oops, bounce back too far. Okay. So those are just the overall view of like the different views of the schedule that we offer. If I flip back to monthly, and let's go ahead and view all calls for all productions. Looks like something's gone wrong here. Oh, it's my user filter. Somehow I've gotten to 4 users. Let's go ahead and select everybody again. Filter that back. There we go. Now we've got everybody. All right. Quick overview of some other features that are super handy as you just peruse the schedule or you navigate here. We can send schedules out. So let's say that you're working on the schedule for this coming week and you've moved a bunch of things around and you feel like, okay, the schedule is now locked and I need to just let everybody know the schedule's ready to go. This send schedules feature is a way that, particularly for users who may not be in VirtualCallboard or may not be logging in consistently, if you want to very proactively message out to them, the schedule for tomorrow is set or the schedule for next week is set. you'd come in here, pick the production that you wanted to work from. We'll do 39 steps, and then pick the date. So we'll just say tomorrow. We'll say tomorrow's schedule is set. So tomorrow, the 30th, from midnight to midnight. And I'll just send a notice that says tomorrow's schedule has been confirmed. Please note the following changes or something. You know, I can list out. I could put as much information here as I'd like. I could just do a couple bullets. This, that, the other. And then we'll just send that out. And what it does is it sends the update to everyone in that production who has a call. So if you're called to something tomorrow in the 39 steps production, I'm gonna hit next. Actually, it may ask me to pick users. Oh, it does, okay. So here I can, again, we see that users groups picture, picker. I can go ahead and pick a group, which is handy, full cast. I want the full cast to know that the schedule is now updated and ready to go. So I've done that, I'm gonna hit next. And it confirms everything it's sending, and I hit send, and then, oh, no scheduled calls were found for 39 steps tomorrow. All right, well, I saved myself an email. That was pretty good. Otherwise, it would send everyone an email with their calls for tomorrow as well. Let me talk a little bit about syncing and exporting and importing. This is a question we get all the time about, particularly when somebody's moving from one program to another program, right? You may have your schedule created in Excel, or you have it created in Outlook, and you want to try and sync the two or get the two to play friendly together. We support a one-way sync from VirtualCallboard to any popular Google calendaring or any popular calendaring program. So Google Calendar, Microsoft Outlook, Apple Calendar, anything that really follows the WebCal standard, which is pretty standard for most calendaring programs now. So you just take that URL, you subscribe to the calendar using the calendar software, and it appears as a layer on your calendar. So you might have your personal calendar, and then you have your VirtualCallboard calendar coming in as a layer on top of that. That's one way you can sort of bring VirtualCallboard calendars together with your calendar. The other thing you can do is send with each call update, with each email that goes out with call notifications. Oops. Bouncing back. You can send an attachment to that email. You can set the site. I think it's under site settings. Let's see here. Watch me just go off script here and totally find this really easily. We're going to go to site administration, notifications. Be there. Call notifications. Yeah. Well, dang. Okay, I biffed it. It's in here somewhere, I know. I'm not going to dig for it now. There's a setting in here where you can say, do you want to attach an ICS file to every email that goes out about calls? And so then the user would receive the email, they receive the attached ICS file. Those, of course, can be very easily added to your calendar using your email client or using other programs. And that's one way to get that information from Callboard onto another calendaring program. Excuse me, what we don't support is import. We do support importing and syncing through our APIs. So we do have open APIs because we have a mobile app. And so you can create some link between one calendaring program and VirtualCallboard and import data into Callboard. But that would be like a custom development effort. I would recommend having a developer for whatever calendaring system you're using help you with that migration and syncing of data. But that is possible through our mobile APIs, which are documented and available for use as well. So that's sort of how you move things, calendar information from one program to another. Importing, I'll add, is a fairly tricky process, mostly because VirtualCallboard manages so much additional data related to a call than any other calendaring program would ever have. And that's why we honestly created VirtualCallboard. Like no other calendaring program did as good a job at figuring out double scheduling, figuring out availability of users, figuring out location-based sharing and the different views of the calendar we really wanted. And that's honestly what drove us to keep developing this platform to be such a scheduling-centric platform. We wanted all those capabilities. Let me briefly mention conflicts. Conflicts is a thing we added, I think, probably 4 years ago now. It's been a smash hit of a feature. Most users, most stage managers will ask the people who cast in the show to come in and enter their conflicts. So it's be, doctor's appointments or, classes, if you're thinking about students, just, or just, life, like times you can't be at the theater, you can't be scheduled for calls. And then that'll be open for a certain period of time, and then it'll be closed and you can't add any more conflicts. And so that sort of keeps the peace between, hey, you can't just sort of add a conflict anytime. We need to sort of have this agreement or this sort of check between us to make sure that we're doing everything we should. You can make a conflict private, so nobody can see what it is but you, or you can leave it public so that you and your castmates can share that information. So conflicts show up on the various layers of the calendar if you have permission to see those conflicts, and that's typically, again, controlled by a permission system, so it's not available to everybody. That doesn't, not showing to everybody by default, but it would show for somebody who has management responsibilities for a given production. So there you go. Let's see, what did I miss on schedule? Oh, we were going to talk about attendance. So after a call has passed, you can record attendance for that call. Let me just show you what that looks like. Attendance administration. We had a dry tech, looks like, on 6/28. These are calls that have passed. So I'll go ahead and, there's only one user call to the dry tech. I'll bet that was a fun dry tech. So we'll go ahead and mark that person not on time for his own call, the only call he had. We'll mark them late by, let's say, 7 minutes, because traffic was bad. You can also enter additional notes or information there. Then we hit save. The nice thing about the attendance information is for that user that I just marked that attendance for, that becomes visible to them now on their screen. When they log into VirtualCallboard, they can come to the home screen and they'll see an attendance widget on their home screen. I don't see it here because I'm an administrator user, but if I were to log in as a cast member, I would see a informational widget here that would show me how I'm doing attendance-wise. Do I have many lates in my records? Am I able to, am I doing okay, or do I need to have a discussion with my stage manager? And that's just a way we can really easily show that information to people. What we do is we take the information we now have about people staying late, leaving early, or sorry, arriving late or leaving early. And then from there, we can generate certain reports on attendance. We can print, we can calculate hours based on the users in the system. And the work week start and end. So that will create a report in Excel that you can take away from the system and take to your like your payroll software or something, right, and enter that information in. You can also do this this calculation just based on the number of hours someone was called during the week, and that's really important. I think for some unions, at least here in the United States, you can only call an actor to a certain number of hours of calls, and if you do that, it's above that, it's overtime as well. So those types of reports are available here. This is also a pretty popular feature where people just want the printed roll, right? Like, just give me the roll so I can write on it. So that's a very common thing folks do here, is they just come in and print the attendance sheet, and they're able to check people off on it and then enter it into the system later. That's probably a theme. I'll just pause here and say it's a theme for the whole system. One of the driving factors, or sort of the mental models we have for this system, is it's not really here to fully replace the physical callboard. It's here to augment it and to be really to work in concert with each other. Surely, in COVID times, right, we're all virtual and we're all digital. We're even doing production digitally. So Callboard in that case becomes vital because we only have digital. But in the physical world, we can have the Callboard and we can have VirtualCallboard, and they can feed each other. We can have the production booklet, or the production books the stage manager's using, and Callboard feed each other. So personally, I like to work in Excel for a lot of what I do. And so I will do my scheduling in Excel, and then I move it into Callboard when I'm ready to publish it and send it out to everybody. You can do it opposite. You can move it to, or you can start in the VirtualCallboard and do everything there, and then you can move it to printed and then post it on the Callboard that way. So either way, every view of the software, every view of the calendar has this printer friendly button at the bottom. All the announcements, all the features I've showed you, you'll see there's printer friendly indicators in various places. So you can just print stuff out and post it on the Callboard. And go physical to analog, or analog to physical. Either way works fine. Let me just pause there and make sure I didn't miss anything here in the schedule. Check the questions. Let's see. Okay, how do you avoid a particular discussion getting lost? Going back to the discussions feature. So we don't have pinning, but that's a really good idea. And so if you want to submit that as an idea, you can go to our support site and submit that. We don't have pinning, but we do have time-based or chronological based. So the things that are getting the most attention, the things that are getting the most replies, those will float to the top of the list. But we could certainly add a pinning feature if you had an important thing to put at the top. And another thing I'll add on discussions is sort of a trick that Jason found. He has a touring production, a touring company that goes out every year. And they've used the discussion feature to actually keep a running log of each city they go to, like where are the good places to eat, where are the good places to stay, what did we learn last time we were here in this city? And so they keep that from year to year as like a journal that they can refer back to when the new company or the new organization comes through the year later, and so they don't have to relearn the same things over and over every year, and that helps with continuity, obviously, and various different things. So yeah, there are a lot of innovative ways to use these very generic tools, and that's just one example. We have thousands of customers using these products thousands of different ways. Okay, looking at time, and I want to be make sure I end on time, so I may go a little higher level on some of these features that are still coming. But I think I highlighted most things for calls. Oh, no. One more thing I want to show you in calls is this idea of an open call. And I'll flip back to the app for this. So I'm going to go ahead and add a call. And this is going to be a crew call. And you'll see why here in a minute. So I'm going to have a paint the stage call. And this is a, let's say just full crew call. And we're going to do that in the stateroom of Tyree Hall, whatever that is. And I'm going to say I need 10 people people to help paint the stage. And that's going to happen on, let's say, July 1st. And we'll do that. Let's do 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. And here's the ticket. I want to create an open call. So closed call is, I'm going to tell you who's going to be there. Y'all need to be there, as we say in Texas. Y'all got to come. You're assigned to be there. An open call is, hey, I need 10 people. I need a certain number of people. It could be any of you, and I'll let you sign up for that. Great for like volunteer management, or like these crew calls where you need 10 people, but you want to open up to a pool of people. So then I just come and I create these invited users. I want 10 people to sign up. And I'm going to go ahead and invite a bunch of groups. So I want my design team to come. The cast is invited to sign up if they'd like. Scenic volunteers. There we go. Like we have some people who are trained. We might as well send that out. And yeah, I guess we'll let stage management sign up too. Why not? So then I just hit next here. I then get the option to pre-sign up anybody who I know is coming, right? So I know that Sam of the casting crew is going to be there. That's great. I'm already planning on that person. So hit next, I just confirm the summary. Of course, I leave the send notification on, and then we all cross our fingers as we see the notification come to my phone. So let me just stop the share or add a share here. Come back to my phone, cross my fingers, do the demo dance, hope that Zoom will work. Oh, I got the high sign. All right. So you see here, I got the VirtualCallboard notification here on my home screen about this paint the stage call. Oh, and this, perfect. This is a call that actually Sam of the cast and crew is the user I'm signed in as. And so I was added as a user to the call. I'm already added. I can see the 10 people here that are invited. I can see the people that have declined. But I didn't actually get to show you the feature I wanted to show you. I can show you a different way. So you see this blue band here at the top, which says open calls available. I would have gotten a notification if I didn't add myself manually to the call. The notification would have said, would you like to accept this call? Yes or no? So these are the open calls that I have available to me. There's let's say information session. I want to participate in that. I'll just hit accept down here. And now I'm on the list for the information session as well. So I can accept calls, I can decline them. I can't decline or change my thing after I accept it. Maybe I can. Oh, I can't do that. We talked about that, Jason and I, whether that was a good idea or not. Looks like we decided it was a good idea. But this is your opportunity, like for a cast or a crew member, right, who may have a bunch of open calls, to say, you know, what things that they'll be able to attend or not. So, all right. Let me go back to my browser and just show one or two more things. If you have any questions or areas you want me to dive deeper in, I'm happy to hear that feedback. Q&A in the chat. But I think I've touched on most of the important things on the schedule by this point. So let me show you quickly reports and file sharing, and then we will talk about users and we'll be done. So maybe about 5 or 10 more minutes here. Reports is, I mentioned it in the beginning when I was showing you my slides, that these reports are based on templates. And so you can create a template and then you reuse that template over and over again as you file reports. So here, I pull up the report section. I'm looking at all active productions and I hit rehearsal report. This is a filed report for a rehearsal that previously happened. And you can see the notes, the various department notes and breaks and things. And one nice feature of this report is when you hit a field, you actually see the individual history for that field and all the reports in the history of time. And so this isn't a great example because we don't have so much history here, but if I wanted to click on the, hey, you know, is this the third note that third time I've given that note to the lighting department? I can click in there and I can see a different dimension of that data, that same data. So that's what the reports sort of look like after they're filed. Let me show you what they look like as we file them. So I've set up a rehearsal report here, and I've configured all these fields to appear on the rehearsal report. So it's pre-filled my name, it's pre-filled the report name here. I can always add something to that, by the way. I can say, you know, I don't know, rehearsal report, you know, interim something, I don't know. Or pre-filled my name. Oh, and I don't know if you noticed that here, this little indicator came up that said report draft auto saved. And so this was another feature that came from feedback from users where, hey, my Wi-Fi is a little spotty, or I had a, you know, connectivity problem while I was filing my report and I lost my whole report, darn it. We don't have that problem anymore because we are saving that as we go. So every time you fill something in, it will save as well. And so main stage here, report number, and it's auto incrementing this report number. I can fill in all the information. We're using, again, the fancy editor here. So I can put in bullet points, I can put in numbered lists, I can highlight things in yellow if I feel like the people are ignoring me. I can make them very large print if I would like to. So people will pay attention to what I'm trying to tell them. So we see some people coming up with some pretty creative things in reports to try and get their friends and stakeholders to pay attention to what stage management would like them to say. I'm sure none of you have experienced that in your careers. I'm sure everyone has always read the report thoroughly and always done whatever it said on there. So we get down to the bottom of the report, we filled in everything, we preview the report. Again, we see how it's formatted. We say where we're starting to add in our information. I can save and email that out right away. I can save it as a draft and come back later. I can go back to continue editing it. All those things are possible. So when I send out the report, again, it follows the preferences of the user, whether that's a notification in the app directly, whether that's an email, and the report just comes right through into their email box, which is generally speaking what everybody mostly prefers, is just to get everything in their email, so they don't have to go to the site or open up the app. So that's what we see is most popular with report creation. Under the reports administration tab is where you would click in to actually create the templates. I won't show you that; it's a little too boring for I think what we're doing here, but that is available there, and you can pick the various different report types or report fields that you'd like to show up on the report. Finally, let me just pop you into file sharing. So file sharing is brings together all the files that come through the site. So things that you add to discussions, things that you add to emails, things that you just add to file sharing. And it comes with very granular permissions in terms of how you share the file. You can share it to a whole organization, or sorry, a whole production of users, and all users in that production, or you can share the file by users, groups, or roles as well. So I pull up this Tampa Bay image. I can see that we support versioning as well. So we can view the latest file, we can download the latest, or we can view some history of the file. Not so great for images, but if you're managing, let's say, versions of a script, and maybe you're on version 20 and that there was something in version 18 that was really important that maybe got cut on accident, you can always roll back to that version 18, pull it back up, and print that out, or whatever you need to do to bring that forward. So we do support multiple versionings. I support the files. If I click on edit file info, you can see here who the file is shared with, where it's shared, in what folder. I can move that around to a new folder. I can pick different users, different departments or groups to share the file with, or I can pick all users as well. What you'll notice here is that everything is done by group or user or all users. It's not done by individual users, and that's super helpful because let's say a user leaves, we deactivate that account. When they come back, or when a new user comes in, we want to just give them the things that they need. We don't have to actually go back through every single file and add them manually to everything. So if they're part of the cast and we add them to this cast group, they automatically receive all the cast files they should receive. So it's just a really powerful and flexible way to manage those permissions for these different files. You can upload any type of file you like. I think I mentioned in the beginning as well, there are no limits on the size of the file or the number of files or the total storage of files. We have a lot of folks uploading videos and different audio tracks, rehearsal tracks and those kinds of things to the system. So it's very flexible and does not sync. I will say we get a lot of questions of, does it sync with Google Drive, or does it sync with Dropbox or Box or whatever your favorite file sharing program is? It does not at this point. It's its own self-contained file system. And that's, again, like mostly due to the fact that these file sharing permissions are pretty bespoke to VirtualCallboard. And so sort of opening that up to sync to other systems doesn't really sort of match up with our security model of making sure that people can only access the information that's relevant to them. Last thing I'll touch on before we're done here, I think I just want to show you contact sheets and just the idea that you have all these users in the system and all the users have logins, and so they can log in, and as they log in, they go through a very short wizard that collects their user information, whether it's their email address or their phone number, their physical address, and they're given the opportunity to sort of keep that private, to share it with management, or to share it with the whole organization. So you can see various different lock icons here, which shows, because I'm logged in as management, I can see certain things that regular users can't see. So if I would log in as a cast member, you'll see more information. The information that has these lock signs next to it would be not visible. And I could, of course, add things to this contact sheet. If I wanted to print it off, I can add photos. Let's say I just want an emergency contact sheet. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put in emergency contact info, take out addresses, we don't need those. So I get a different sheet I can use to print out for emergency contact. All this is being managed and updated by the user themselves. So hopefully that's a little less maintenance for me as a stage manager, where I'm always keeping people's information up to date and copying it from this sheet over to that sheet and ensuring that I have the right printouts in all the books. It's just on Callboard, it's on your app. You can pull it up easily, make that phone call, find that allergy information, and it's just right there on the user's profile. So it's a lot more convenient. There are various different functions here under the administration tab, just in terms of setting up the site, setting up productions, setting up different options. Again, there's a lot of configurable options based on your preferences of how you want to run things. That comes from a lot of feedback from a lot of different types of users over the years. And I think that's about it. So I'm just going to check the Q&A one more time. See if there's any other questions out there. Please let me know through the chat or through the Q&A tab. Let me, while you guys think of your questions, let me just share my slides one more time. I think we have an offer here at the end for all of you that have been very patient sitting here and listening to me talk for a while with my outrageous American accent. So this is something we've been doing with many organizations as we are all trying to come back to theater. And honestly, I don't know exactly where everyone is. All your organizations there are in New Zealand are. Obviously, we've had the latest development there with things getting locked down a little bit more. But here in the US, we're experiencing some coming back to theater. We're having a lot of virtual things. We're hoping for more in the fall. Broadway is set to reopen in the fall, which we're all looking forward to. But what we want to do from Empty Space Technology and from a VirtualCallboard perspective is use this downtime that you might have during the pandemic to just learn these things, to try them out, and to try something new when you come back. And so when you come back and you begin your next project, we want you to use VirtualCallboard for free for the first production that you do. So please email us. You know, you can go to the website, virtualcallboard.com. You can sign up for your site. You can create your site right there on the website. But then I want you to just send me an email really quickly at support@theemptyspace.com and just say, hey, Sam, I was on the New Zealand conference. Loved your presentation. Of course, you got to throw us a little compliment there. And remind me of the special that we gave you so I can make sure you get your first production for free. We want you to use the product. We want you to have this experience. We want to try it out. Give us feedback. How did it go? What can we do better? And hopefully this will become something you will want to use in the future on other projects that you have as well. So from our hearts to yours, we want theater to come back strong in New Zealand. So let's make that happen together, and let's use this time together to learn new tools, broaden our horizons, try new things, and hopefully it's something that you'll find useful and want to use in your future projects as well. So with that, I think I'm done, and I'll turn it back.
Well, thank you, Sam. This is the second time that I have watched your presentation, and I have learned a couple new tricks, and I constantly feel that this is a really exciting program that could be utilized within New Zealand. And I've also already had a couple of people up on our chat going, hey, how can I share this with my my production manager and my general manager? So we will be working to share those sort of links. Thank you for your very, very kind offer, remembering folks that you can get in there and play. And we will make sure that on the ETNZ website shortly and our Facebook page, we will share the links again so that you guys can get to Sam's fantastic page. I'm just doing the same thing, just checking that we've got no more Q&As have popped up. No, and no more chats that have popped up. So if no one has any other sort of questions, give it a pregnant pause. No, nothing's come through. But hey, if you do, just email me, and I'm sure I can get them on to Sam. Otherwise, I'm going to say once again, Sam, thank you so much for finding the time. I've forgotten what the time difference is, but I think when we originally started, it meant that you did have a slightly longer and later working day. I also want to take a moment just to thank all of the ETNZ executive and all the people chairing and introducing all of these sessions. Up in Auckland, I've got Creative Ambient, Spencer Airwalker, Q Theatre helping us present from here, and we've got Burnside High School presenting out of Christchurch, and then there is that most amazing team that's in Wellington with the rest of our executive, multimedia, lovely Matt, all the people there making it all work. So thank you. I'd like to remind everyone that the lobby forum discussion Zoom link is open if you want to jump in there, see if there's any questions, and also remind you about that online trade show passport. So find that link, sign up, and then go searching around all of our trade show presenters, and there are some pretty great prizes that will be handed out afterwards. So yeah, I'm going to say one more time, thank you to Sam, good night, and thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.